Making sure.
No, me. Okay. Hi, it's Tech Thursday. I'm Cassie.
And I'm Nicole. Hold on, let me bring my chair down. There we go.
Woo! Yay!
There we go. A little height difference today.
So yeah, we have a bit of a passion topic today, which is always good.
Passion topic.
I feel like blogging is like our passion topic. Like when we talk about blogging, we're like, "Ayoo."
Yeah, we are like boom. Because yeah, that's a really good point. And so today we're talking about the pros and cons of blogging on your own site versus blogging on someone else's website.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm not sure how to start off, except I definitely have an opinion about this. And honestly, there's not really a right or a wrong answer. Let's just say that.
You could do both.
Yeah, and some people definitely do. And we can totally talk about that. So you might think, well, what are we talking about when we talk about blogging on someone else's website?
The first thing I think of usually is kind of almost like freelancing.
Yeah.
Like people, like the websites that call out for submissions, like want to write for like Elephant Journal or want to write for like
Elephant Journal. Yeah, good example.
And I guess you can set up, I remember looking at this before I came to work here, like doing this part-time with
Is it like a paid thing, Elephant Journal, or is it like just you contribute your content?
I've switched to general now.
Oh, I see.
Sorry, I should have specified. Yeah, so generally I was looking at writing for other people when I was at my old job, just for a creative outlet. And I saw some like different setups. Like one was we'll try you out. Like you submit 5 articles for like a month-long stint, and you get like a set amount of money for that. But
that's interesting.
That's the only one that comes to mind. But they also reserve the right to change what you submit because you're not a staff person. You're just
yes, yeah. You're sending it in and they're editing it before and putting it online for you. You're just kind of sending it to them.
So they might like make your title really like link baity and weird, but
yeah. That's how the advice column was too at the paper. They would change stuff I said, and it was like, oh, that didn't sound like me, but okay, I guess you have editors for that. But So some places you blog pay you. Like one of my friends, I'm trying to remember, I think it's called Freelance Switch, the website. I'm not entirely sure, by the way, if this is what it's called, but I think they pay like $50 a post. And you can basically write whatever you want kind of thing once you're sort of vetted.
Gotcha.
So some of them, I think the we'll try you out for free thing is interesting. Because it's low risk to them and all, or I guess they pay you a small fee.
If they decide to use it.
Oh, I see. Yeah. And then some people just pay per post. But some places will let you just post stuff for free. And, the one that comes to mind is like newspaper websites will let people, especially if they're a local paper, will let you have like a blog. So, one of our local papers is called the Bangor Daily News. And so you can have so if Cassie wanted to start a blog about her cake baking, she could have like Cassie's Cakes .bangordailynews.com, and she would be blogging on the Bangor Daily News' website. She'd be putting her stuff there for free. Although I will say that one of my friends blogs there, and she says, because she didn't want to go through the whole setting up a whole thing and all that, and we'll talk about the pros and cons in a minute, but she says that they give bloggers part of the advertising revenue that they make from the blog. So if your blog posts are getting a lot of views and stuff like that, you could get a financial reward for that, but it does, you do post it for free and just kind of hope your stuff gets well read. So, and then there's social media sites that let you post things too, like LinkedIn lets you blog right on LinkedIn. You could go on LinkedIn and be post a blog entry, and you could put your thing and boom, your blog post is on LinkedIn. And I know somebody in our industry does that. He does an email newsletter with the same content, and then he also puts it a LinkedIn blog. So he doesn't have his own blog on his website, but that's how he reaches his email audience and then his online audience. Is those two things. So there's definitely options. You don't have to set up a whole website yourself to start blogging. although honestly, it's really not that hard these days to do so. But there's definitely pros to blogging on someone else's website.
Oh, show. Yeah, so number one thing, like with Bangor Daily or any paper and like things like Elephant Journal or Thought Catalog or stuff like that, they already have a following built up.
Yeah.
Usually, like they're pretty big. I don't know why I'm doing this in my head. Yeah, so you don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of building your own audience. You can direct new people there, like your friends and stuff, or like maybe ideally, I guess you'll be pulling in new people.
Right.
But you aren't starting from scratch.
Right, and your friend doesn't have, like, you run into your friend at the coffee shop and they don't have to remember some weird URL. You can just say, oh, go on, Thought Catalog and look me up there. And they can remember Thought Catalog because they're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
Versus like, go to Cassie'sAwesomeCakes.com or something. They might not remember that. .com.org. Really confusing.
Yes. Oh my God.
There's something to be said for already having an audience somewhere, honestly, because honestly, too, what I like about like, I think Bot Catalog is kind of like this, and maybe Elephant Journal is too. Medium is definitely like this. It's almost like blogging platforms now have started to intersect with social networks. So like I can like follow someone. Like if there's an author I like, I can follow them right on that blogging platform. And so I can read their stuff. So it's like, it's interesting that there's this intersection now between like the blogging and the social media with these bigger websites. You have a presence on them, like you have a profile and people can follow you and you're building an audience there essentially, a little bit more than, maybe, blogging on some other random website.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing too is you really just have to worry about your writing, like the quality of your writing, and that's it. You don't have to think about like, is the website down? Is it working? Is like, what's it look like? That's none of your business. I mean, you can have opinions about it clearly, but yeah, that's out of your jurisdiction. Like all you do is write and maybe throw a picture or two. Out is an option, which may or may not be used, but.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and there's something to be said for that. You're not worried about why there's not the weird crap going on the sidebar, or should you start selling ads or whatever. Like you're literally just have to show up and do it, there's something to be said for that, for sure. As someone who spends the time worrying about what weird things going on in the sidebar on a regular basis for other people. And honestly too, the other thing with, yes, there's already an audience there. So there's already people reading stuff. There's already people on that website, but there's also already distribution channels set up. So like I said, people, so with LinkedIn, for example, if you're following someone, so like this guy in my industry, if I'm following him, when I get my little LinkedIn email digest, his link to his blog is right in there. Like it's already set up that I can get that via email with my LinkedIn digest. Or, there's ways that people can like subscribe or follow, already built in. You don't have to think about like, oh, I really wish people could subscribe via email because the website probably already has that set up. So you don't have to worry not only about getting people there, but you don't have to worry about, I guess, getting things out there. I mean, you can post it on your own, Facebook, profile and stuff like that. But in terms of allowing people to get the stuff they want to get from you, it's probably already set up. Someone's already thought about it.
Yeah. And it's not you.
Right. It's true. There's something to be said for having something to worry about, or something you don't have to worry about, that you just, get to do the part you like, which is theoretically writing. If you're going to be a blogger, or, videos, if you're going to be a video blogger, or vlogger. Is that what they call it? It's called vlogging, or is it vlog? I always wondered.
Oh, I just call it vlog. I don't know what they call it. I call it vlogging.
Vlogging. I just always wondered if it was supposed to be vlog, or I guess if it was vlog, it would be v-log. I guess having it together, vlog, that makes sense. Yeah, anyway. And there's just some people who hate the word blog, which I think they just need to get over themselves because that's what they're doing. I'm talking to you, Gwyneth Paltrow, with your online magazine. Oh, Oh, a website that's curated with stuff you write. The newest stuff being on top. That's a blog. Sorry.
I don't pay nearly enough attention.
I know. Just when people are like, well, it's not a blog, it's an online magazine. I'm like, okay, potato, potato. Up to you.
Fun fact, potato, like when you're trying to say that to someone in a text message, you really have to type out the pronunciation because otherwise you just look like you're saying potato twice and your argument is kind of like, it falls flat.
I'm trying to think of how I spell potato. I mean, also, if anyone ever said potato to me, I don't know what I think of them as a person. I'd be like, are you some kind of D-bag or something? Like, who says that? Please pass the potatoes. I mean, could you picture anyone really saying that to you? Like with a straight face and like legit meaning it? Because I
only if they have like a sweater tied around their neck. That's, I don't like, yeah.
Or maybe if they're vaguely British, I could sort of see that. But
and also the sweater.
And also the sweater works, right?
Like I just, yeah.
God.
Anyway,
yeah.
Other thing about blogging somewhere else, apparently you might have some stats available.
Yeah, well, like oftentimes, like they gotta give you a carrot, right? They gotta give you something. They can't just be like, oh, write for us for free, and you need some motivation. And part of the motivation for bloggers is that people actually seeing what you write. So, for example, I'm working on a blog post about Medium because I think it's kind of interesting. And so I posted a blog post about Medium a week ago, and I let it sit there because I thought, you know what, Medium has an audience. I used a couple of popular tags to see if stuff would come up. And this is how many visits I got. 0. Goose egg. Nothing for a week. Like not even one random person looked at it. And I was like, oh. So then I posted it to my Facebook personal profile yesterday just because I just wanted to see what stats were available. And what was interesting is it said, this is how many people read it, or this is how many people viewed it, and this is how many people read it, which I thought was interesting, right? Like, and it also did an estimated like reading time of 5 minutes. So like you could read the whole article in 5 minutes. So I thought so I was like, what does that mean? And then like this many people were, so it was like, oh, 85 people have read it. You have an 88% read rate. And like I said, I don't know how they can tell if someone's reading it, except I guess maybe they're measuring like how long they spend on the page. But I thought it was interesting. Like it was a lot more motivating to me to see that someone had actually read it. It made me want to do it again. So even if you're blogging for someone else, they'll give you some stats information. You'll be able to see, oh, 150 people read this, or like 1,000 people read this. And it's a lot more motivating to write another blog post when you know that somebody read it.
And also on there, and like if they're paying you especially, they probably are going to be looking at that to be like, okay, do we keep this author on or not? Like
right.
If I'm thinking like Bangor Daily, like do we give them space or do we give it to someone else who might pull in more readers?
Right.
So that might be that's my cynical view on
and the thing
statistics.
Right. And the thing with the internet is there's enough space for everyone. It's not like there's a lack of space. It's just that there's a lack of premium space, right? So like they said, they're going to like test out and they're going to put the people who generate the most hits on the front page. So like if you go on medium.com, my crappy article apparently that no one read initially for a week wasn't on the homepage. What was on the homepage was the popular ones, right? So that's, that's part of it too. But there is some legitimacy. I know that it's so funny when I see like, oh, so-and-so my article got published on Thought Catalog. I'm like, oh, wow. Like really? When really like anyone can submit to it when you look into it. But it just looks impressive when this website that you've heard of has an article that's written by your friend or by someone you know. So, there's some legitimacy to it versus, something new. Even if you wrote the perfectly beautiful piece and just put it on like, your WordPress.com blog, it would seem to have less legitimacy even though it had the same information. If you didn't already have a readership and that kind of thing. So, and this is where we get into pros of blogging on someone else's site. The audience is already there. The mechanism for, distribution is already there. You get some legitimacy. Sometimes you can make some money. they take care of the tech heavy lifting for you and you just get to write, which is cool. Now the cons of blogging somewhere else. So for example, I'll use the same Medium thing. If I would have posted something on our blog, it wouldn't have gone a whole week with 0 hits. Like it just wouldn't have. It wouldn't have gone because I'm not at the mercy of getting on Medium's front page to get hits. You know, so when we put something on our blog, it'll at least get a few hits the first day, no matter what. Because why? Because we built something and people know to go there to get it. So if you're building this whole presence somewhere else and you want to take your ball and go home, it's really hard to get people to move with you. It's kind of like renting versus owning, right? Like if you own your house, you can put the crazy wallpaper up that you've always wanted. But if you're renting, you gotta kind of have to be a little bit more careful. Like you could have to move at any time. And there's not, you know, and that's not to say home ownership is great and renting is terrible. It isn't, they're just different things for different people.
Yeah. So like the thing with renting, like we said before, like the technical stuff that comes with it. So like if your toilet starts overflowing, like you're the one that has to deal with that. You can't call a landlord and be like, you.
Exactly. Yeah, so there's, you know, in the blog world, yeah, when your header starts being screwy, you have to deal with it because it's
I mean, you can like do the phone a friend thing or like Google or whatever, but like you can call like, but it's someone to be like,
it's still your problem to own though and deal with versus being like, hey, there's something to be said for that. Also, if you're a complete control freak, you'll also enjoy blogging on your own site because you can control the design, you can control what ads appear, you can control everything. You can even moderate comments. So if some jerky person has left you a comment and you don't want it to be there, you can delete it. Versus if it's a site owned by someone else and someone leaves you a jerky comment, I think you have to kind of keep it there for the most part. I'm not saying that's across the board true, but yeah, you just have less control over the environment because it's not your environment. And I will say a lot of people have a hard time too making like a lot of money when it's not on their own site. Do you get a lot of Facebook ads for like entrepreneurial crap, or is that just me?
That's just you.
Okay. I get a lot of ads on Facebook for entrepreneurial crap, and it's like all these people who are like, I made 7 figures last year and you can too, like here's this webinar. And are any of them like using LinkedIn as a blogging platform or whatever? No, they're sending us all to their website where they can sell us webinars and books and programs and all these things, right? Because if someone else owns the site and they're giving you, you know, $5 for every 1,000 clicks onto your post, unless you start getting really, really, really popular, it's hard to make a lot of money that way. True. Versus if it's on your own site, you can kind of dictate your own terms, make your own amount of money. But honestly, like you said, I don't think it's necessarily bad to rent your blog space. I think it's right for a lot of people, especially if they don't quite know what they want right away. And I can't tell you how many people I know who've started blogging one place and moved somewhere else. You know, your readers, your fans, or whatever you want to call them, they'll move with you. The loyal ones will, you know? Yeah. So if you've started doing something and are a couple of years in and decide you want to change it up, don't worry about it. I've moved the Breaking Even blog 3 times. I'm not moving it ever again. But these days it's getting easier and easier to move stuff, sort of from a technological standpoint. I mean, a lot of these programs run off databases and you can download all your blog posts and you can import them into another system. I'm making that sound really simple. I'm not saying it's entirely that straightforward, but it's definitely getting easier. Like moving my blog in 2009 was definitely a lot more painful, I'm guessing, than it would be to move it in 2015 if I had to. I feel like there's a lot more choice now. So yeah, I'm gonna work on a blog post about Medium, I think. Because I'm just sort of, like I said, the thought catalog, the elephant journal, like that kind of stuff just intrigues me because I think, you know, I think those websites are definitely onto something because they're definitely merging the blog with the social aspect of blogging. I was telling Cassie about back in the dark ages of blogging, how we didn't really have social media. So like to get people to visit your blog, you had to do like some crazy things, like have these blog carnivals and like, I'm trying to think, do like, what are they called? Like there's all these like weird things that don't, they still exist to some extent, but they don't have to exist anymore because we have social media. And I'm just thinking how much easier that is. So it's nice that, you know, if you get to know a blogger, you could follow them and you could kind of like be online friends with them. I think that's really neat. I kind of wanted to be friends with Judy Bloom when I was a kid. And then she started blogging in like 2009 and I got really, really excited, and then she stopped blogging and then I got really, really sad. But it's cool these days to know that you could kind of be friends with a fellow author and you could each read each other's stuff. I think that's really neat.
The internet is an awesome place.
For the most of the time, for sure. But I think like the lack of gatekeepers, I really appreciate, because honestly, I don't have the stomach to, I just think of some friends who are published authors. Like I do not have the stomach to get 50 rejection letters. I don't. Like, or the patience really to go to publishing house after publishing house, like begging for my work to be published. I just love that I can just go online, write it up, press save, and people can see it and I can get feedback about it in real time. I'm not like waiting for somebody in a, you know, in a 36th floor of some Manhattan building to tell me, you know, what I need to change. I can get that from other people. So yeah, blogging, whether you do it on your site or someone else's. It's fun.
It's good times.
It's good times. Are you thinking about blogging are you thinking about trying out the Elephant Journal or anything else? I'm curious about.
I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. Yeah, what you write about kind of thing.
Yeah, I have a hard time focusing, and honestly, like my creative energy is kind of spent at the end of the day. So I don't really have any like mental energy for side projects. Sadly.
Oh no, well we gotta change that. All right, so send us some mindless things to talk about and do so that we can conserve brain power.
Yes. Yeah, if you have an idea for us, leave us a comment.
We definitely have opinions.
Yeah. Yeah, just like send us a thing and we'll talk about it that's related to the internet or marketing.
Yeah.
And or.
Yeah, totally. Awesome.
So yeah, we will.
Oh yeah, next week. Times we'll see you.
Hopefully we'll be slightly more on time next week, but
yeah, sorry about that. That was me.
Spontaneous Wednesday.
Spontaneous Wednesday.
Or Tech Thursday. All right. Hey.